You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, May 1st virtual show. Because of the COVID-19, our show has temporarily moved virtually. You can listen to us on podcast or catch our show on air on 1150 AM KKNW on Saturday at 3 p.m. and rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts. We bring in studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market when everything comes to money, so we can help you set up yourself for success in today's economy. And next with us, we have Richard Matthew of Matthew Enterprises, finding back the joy in podcasting. Richard, thank you so much for joining, and really excited to have you here because you're in our space. A little bit different, but similar, and doing podcasts and helping people do podcast shows. So really excited to have you here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Glad to be here. It's always fun to come in and get to be a part of conversations like this.
Wonderful. Well, a little bit about Richard. In January of 2009, Richard found out he was going to be a dad. And that day he committed to building a business that gave him the freedom to have lunch every day with his kids. Richard is a father of 3 children with 1 more on the way. Congratulations, Richard, to you and your lovely bride. And he's only missed a handful of lunches. He's only missed a handful of lunches with his kids over the time. He travels with them full time in an RV. How fun is that? Educating them, showing them this great country, and living life of freedom that few ever experience. The business he started in 2009 has morphed into Matthew's Enterprises, the consulting services that help authors, coaches, consultants, and service professionals grow their business, establishing expert credibility and make a ton of sales using online courses, webinars, and automation.
Richard, awesome, how cool is that? You're living the dream, traveling in an RV. This is new to me. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, I was saying I can break the fourth wall here for you. That's a fake background. I'm in the back bedroom of an RV in here. So yeah, the bio is a tad old. My baby's actually been born. She's a year old now, so I need to update the bio. But we have a little baby here who's you might hear cry a little bit in the other room because she's she's at that stage. So.
That's awesome. I'm a dad too, but mine's 4 at this point. So yeah,
you might hear her crying. You might hear her crying too.
Oh my goodness, my goodness.
Yeah.
One is enough for me at this point. She's nuts, and I love her, but that's cool. She's spirited. Let's say that. But I love being a dad.
Absolutely.
So you're the host of the Hero program. So if you're the host of the Hero program, you got to have a superpower. What's your Is that your dad's superpower, or what's your superpower?
So my the podcast that I run is called The Hero Show, and it is a show that's focused on lifting up entrepreneurs. I've always hated that the mentality in our culture that entrepreneurs are the villains that you sort of are grown up with. So our show is actually focused on showing entrepreneurs their story in light of them being like an actual superhero. And so myself, I actually have my superhero moniker that I use on the show. I call myself the Alchemist. And because we do marketing, right? And I say that modern day marketing is like alchemy of old. If you learn to master it, you can turn your words into gold. So that's sort of my own superpower stuff. I've always loved copywriting and marketing, and the stuff that goes along with that, because if you learn to string your words together properly and put your content together in the right way and put your sales funnels together in the right way, especially online today, you can actually take your expertise, take your words, take the things that you do and turn that into lifestyle income, which is fascinating to me on multiple levels. One, that you can actually create an income, but on the other side, the people that buy from you, you can actually improve their lives, right? You can change the outcomes that they're having, have massive ripple effects. So anyways, that's sort of where I see my superpower is helping people achieve better results in their lives because of what they're teaching. And then, their clients are getting better results because of what they're teaching as well.
So talk a little bit more about that, Richard, and how you're using your own personal superpowers and helping level up another business professional and help them claim their own superpower.
Yeah, so for the last 7, 8 years or so, I have been working with, I call them expert brand businesses. So people who have an expertise in an area. Like you, Tina, you mentioned that you had a course in mortgage finance and stuff like that. So we take someone who has an expertise in something, and then we teach them how to build training courses, and to do it in a specific way. We call it a persuasive teaching. So teaching that doesn't just, it's not just like how to do something. It's actually like how to do something tied with actually doing something with that knowledge and changing your life because of it. So I call that persuasive teaching. So we teach experts how to teach in that way. And so then they build their courses, and then we do all of the back end stuff that goes along with like actually delivering those courses. So that involves like building your audiences and getting your sales pages up and getting all the technology to work together and do all the things. So there's all sorts of little bits and bobs that go into making an online course, and the sales processes work. And then we get into the actual promotion, which is like doing the ads and getting someone to show up and actually consume your sales message and get into your courses. And more than that, actually building your audience. That's where the Push Button podcast service comes in, that we just launched this year, which is helping our expert brands build their podcasts, right? We do help them build a weekly show like this kind of show, doing them all virtually, where they would show up and do their weekly show, and we get it out to YouTube and podcasts and all the iTunes distribution channels and all the different social media. And we set that up. The Push Button podcasts are expert brands. When they're actually done, all they do is they record, and we do everything else for them. We handle the whole back end process of getting their show created, edited, distributed, and promoted. So that's sort of like a very quick version of like what we do, but we actually take the whole kit and caboodle, right? We take someone who has the expertise and we help them build everything all the way up to the audience that they need to actually grow and create an income, and hopefully create an impact for their audience.
Wow, Richard, that sounds really cool. Really turnkey, it sounds like, from start to finish with all the details. So that's fantastic. And how powerful that can be and bring people's business to the next level when you're embracing the internet. And, we talked about scale and what that can mean for people's businesses. That's a wonderful thing you're doing. But my question is, how do you manage all that while driving an RV around the country?
I don't do it by myself. I did for a long time, but my biggest change this last year was I started bringing on staff members, and so I have, and you guys probably interacted with Mark to get me on the show, but it was my first full-time hire. But I have 3 staff members now.
He would have been engaged with our person, Victoria. So yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have staff now. We have 3 people that work with me full time, and we're working on scaling that as we go. But we have a full team of people that actually focus on getting the work done, and then myself as well. But a lot of it is to the point of our whole conversation here with the crisis, everything is virtual, right? And I discovered this about 4 years ago before we went on the road, that I was like, hey, a lot of the work that I'm doing, I don't need to like meet people in the office, and my clients are all over the country. And I was like, I'm not tied to this location, so why be in a single location? So when opportunity sort of struck, we were renting a house at the time, right before our 3rd baby was born. And our landlord called us and told us that, hey, the owner of the property is selling it and you can't renew your lease. And they gave us about 28 days to move out of the property. And we were like, hey, we could just go get a bigger house because we were having a new baby, or we could take that RV trip we've been talking about forever. And that was 3 years ago now. So we bought an RV, and we've been traveling the country. We've got like 27 or 28 states down and a little over 30,000 miles. And I have learned a whole bunch about running and operating a virtual team, and learning that you can get a lot done in 4 hours if you're sitting outside of Yosemite Valley and you can go jump off of waterfalls that afternoon. Then, when you're at home and you're like, I've got all day to get this work done. So when you're motivated because you're in cool places, you got cool restaurants, cool people to meet, it helps you grow your business really quick because you're dedicated to getting things done.
That is so awesome, Richard. So, Richard, share a little bit more about Push Button Podcast and how it works and how it's helping your clients.
Yeah, so Push Button Podcasts actually grow out of my own show. I started the Hero Show about 3 years ago, and I got my first 8 episodes recorded for that, and it's an hour-long show. And as your studio staff probably knows, for every hour of content that we produce for that show, it's about 8 hours of work to get it edited, to get it transcribed, to get our written assets done, to get all the social media stuff done, to get the graphics done, to get all the stuff out. So I got about 8 episodes into that show before I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to starve because I'm not getting into my regular work done to grow my audience and grow my podcast. And it wasn't until I started building all of the systems and processes and bringing on staff members and actually creating all of that for myself. This last year, we went from 8 episodes that sat there for a year and a half and didn't do anything to we recorded 90 episodes this last year on that show, and have grown our audience significantly. And I haven't touched a single thing other than actually recording the content for that show, and my staff handles everything else. And when I started talking to that in my own mastermind groups and other members that I was working with, I started getting asked, like, how can we have that? Because we have our shows and our staff is bogged down by getting their shows done and getting all this stuff done. And they're like, I would love to have a turnkey way to have this done. And so you have certain businesses that are trying to build virtual shows, build their YouTube shows or their podcast shows, but that's not their business. They don't want to get in the business of podcasting. They want to do what they do best, which is, we got chiropractors and lawyers and digital creators and things like that. They want to do their business. And they want to use podcasting as a way to drive business, right? A way to build an audience. So what we've done is we've just taken it and made it turnkey, where you can show up and we tell our clients, you batch record, do 4 episodes at the beginning of the month, takes you 4 hours, you get it all done. And then we handle everything else for you, and you can just not think about it, right? So we do everything. We do the writing, we do the video editing, we do the transcriptions, we do the social media posting, and we do all of that for our clients. So they can start growing their audience and grow their shows and grow their expert, sort of their brand presence online, which leads to additional sales, leads to inquiries in their business. And it's something they don't have to think about anymore. So that's really what Push Button Podcast is all about.
Yeah, one of my professional core practices is embrace your strengths, hire out your weaknesses. No, I know that's different with the Zoom, because normally in studio, we'll kind of like nudge, like, hey, Keelan, I'm jumping in for a second, but I can't like nudge you over here. Yeah, go ahead, Keelan. But I just wanted to say, we're all about embracing strengths and hiring out your weaknesses. I could use the chat bar. Go ahead, Keelan.
Yeah, we have a little delay too. So it's like built to interrupt somebody, because you usually have that little social cue where you have that like pause. That pause is weird when it's got a little, but we're working it out and we're having a lot of fun. So you do a lot, Richard. So in your digital, like your whole digital platform, is there like a single thing that you love more than anything else as far as helping your clients?
So my favorite thing is when you take someone who has never sold any of their content online before, when they send you the picture of the first check or first online transaction they get, and they're like, holy cow, it's real, you can actually do this. That's one of my favorite things. I remember a couple of years ago, I had a client that they were in the high ticket space. They were actually teaching people how to do wholesaling in real estate, so in the investing space. And he sent me a picture of a $25,000 check for his first big coaching client that he was bringing on to teach them how they were doing. And I was super excited for that. That's one of my favorite things, is when people see the monetary success that comes with learning how to build an online business. So that is definitely my favorite part.
So Richard, even Superman has a weakness, kryptonite. What is your weakness?
So it's funny, because I actually ask that question on my show all the time to all of my guests. And mine for the longest time, and my wife will laugh about this, is I am I'm an anal retentive perfectionist. And so what that does for me is it does a couple of things. It means that I can build really cool, really solid systems that do really good work for my clients, but it also keeps me from shipping. And what I mean by that is I will have things, and for the longest time, this held my business back, where I would get something to a point where like it was ready to ship and I should have shipped it, but like it was just off. And I'm sitting here like, maybe I want to move this thing a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, or maybe I want to change the colors, or maybe I want to do this, or maybe I want to, redo the way that I talked about that in the course or something like that. And like little minute details that don't actually impact the what we call in this space minimum viable product, right? What you actually need to have in order to ship to the marketplace. I mean, I let that hold me back for years, like years. And it wasn't until I started actually bringing staff members on and taking some of the last little bits, where it was like, okay, someone just needs to hit publish, someone needs to send the email, someone needs to put it live, and just taking that off of my shoulders. I mean, putting it on to someone on my team is that, hey, like I got this to as far as like I know that I need to get it, and someone else just needs to make it go live. Because if it's up to me, I'm going to sit here and fiddle with it for 10 years and it'll never go anywhere. So that's my my kryptonite.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I talk about in my coaching program, which is actually not mortgage, it's time management business efficiency in the spirit of one-timing your business. But and that I talk about, if you want to avoid those and being a perfectionist, that is a big thing. But for me, it's just making a commitment to somebody that's really, really important that this is going to be completed. And then you have that sense of urgency behind it. But I love what you've chimed in is, delegate it out, give that task to someone else. And so great advice, Richard.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Richard, so tell us more specifically, why do people want to work with you as opposed to somebody else?
Because I'm good looking. No, probably the reason why I tell people if you want to work with me, it's because you've seen the work that we do, right? You've seen the work that we do with our clients, and the question that we see come in nowadays is we get all of our work comes from referrals nowadays, and people know they want to work with ahead of time because they see the results we have for our other clients. Where it's if you want to get sales online and you want to have your training courses, your students actually go through them. Most of our clients, they have their students have an 80% completion rate on their courses. The industry average is about 30, right? And a lot of that has to do with learning how to do persuasive teaching. And we've got our clients are actually making sales and doing good work in their space. I had one of our clients that his first year in business, he went from zero to $776,000 in sales, and he became the number one coach in his space. Right. So if you want to work with us, it's because you want to get results, and not just for yourself, but also for your clients when they come in and actually learn from you. You want them to get results too, because that creates that snowball effect, and all of that sort of tied together. Right. You want to have your expertise, but you also want to teach it in such a way that people are going to get results from it. And you want to build your audience and have someone that actually knows how it all works together.
Yeah, and that's awesome, Richard. If you are not getting your product out to the market in the biggest way, not only is it a missed opportunity for you, but it's a missed opportunity for the people that what you have to share can make a difference in their life. And so I really love what you're doing. Now, you are definitely just like me. I can hear it in our short period of time that we've had here. And I am all about embracing strengths and hiring out weakness. I've got a team player that takes care of everything that is not the highest level activity that I do not love to do. That's all I do is I show up and I do what I love to do at the highest level activity every second of my day. So tell me, I could tell you why people want to work for me, but I want to hear from you because this is all about you today. Why do people want to work for you? How are you building your team?
So this is all new for me, right? I've only had employees for about a year. And I was really excited because right around Christmas time, my first employee had his first anniversary with me, and he sent me a big thank you message. He said, "Thank you so much for everything you've done over this last year." And hopefully I'm not going to butcher his words too much because I'm sure he'll listen to this interview later. But he told me, he said, "The thing that I love about working for you is that you're actually interested in helping me get where I want to go, right? And use my skills and use my things that I'm really good at to help further your business and do your things." Because not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone wants to have the risks and do the things that those of us who are, the CEOs and the entrepreneurs will take those risks and do those things. A lot of people that want to have the security and everything that goes with having a job, but want to be able to do that in such a way that they're actually, they're living their passions and they're doing, building their dreams and hitting their goals and things like that. And I really want to engender that in my staff. And see where is it that you want to go, and how can I have my staff impact the direction of our business, right? So where is it that you have your skills and your dreams, and how can we tie that into where we're going and how we can help our people? So hopefully that wasn't too rambly, but that's what we're doing. Tina's on mute.
Oops.
I love that, how I'm on mute. I'm the host and I put myself on mute. Terrible. Well, thank you, Richard. I want to say thanks for coming in. Thanks again, Sam, for being here. Really appreciate both of you. And again, I am your host, Tina Mitchell, and you've been listening to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW. Oh, yeah. And Keelan?
Yeah, I'm your co-host. Just going to throw that in there somewhere.
Oh, my God.
That's all right.
Great way to wrap up our show today. We are your local mortgage experts. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the rest of your weekend. And we will be here same time, same place next weekend to have a little bit more conversation around money.